Thank you for viewing this webinar on reviewing quality metrics in Geneticist Assistant. The quality metrics function can be used to define specific quality metrics for review and to set thresholds for flagging failed metrics. Metrics can be reported for a sample and/or for each variant in a sample. We'll cover setting up quality metric profiles, selecting a profile when submitting samples, and reviewing quality metric data. You can start working with quality metric profiles by going to File, Manage Quality Metrics. There is one default profile built in titled NextGENE Phase 1. This profile is designed to work with the formatting of the metrics included in the NextGENE VCF output and is based on the recommendations of AMP and CAP for NGS pipeline validation. You can use the built-in profile directly as it is. You can copy it to be modified for a custom profile, or you can also create your own custom profile from scratch. We'll use the built-in profile to use as a starting point for demonstration. This profile is locked from editing. To create a new profile by modifying the built-in profile, you must first duplicate the profile with a new name. Click Duplicate and then enter a new name for the profile. A profile can be edited by defining the sample type, setting minimum, maximum, and warning thresholds for each metric, removing metrics, adding new metrics, and defining the data source for metrics. Next to the profile name is a field showing the type of samples the profile is to be used for. You can type any text in this field to designate the sample types that the profile is applicable for. This is a display-only field for reference and does not directly affect how or when the profile is applied. In the lower portion of the dialog, each metric to be included is listed. For each metric, you can define minimum, maximum, and warning thresholds. For each threshold, you can choose whether to include the threshold by selecting or deselecting the checkbox. When selected, you can then set the threshold value by double-clicking on the field and then typing in a value, or using the up-down arrows. You can delete any existing metric by selecting the metric, then right-clicking and choosing Remove Metric. You can add a new metric in the Select or Type New Metric field. You can use the drop-down menu to select a metric from the list. You can also type in a name for a new metric. As you type, a list of matching metrics is dynamically updated. You can select a matching metric, or you can enter your own custom text. If a metric from the list is selected, values for the category, use, and data type are automatically supplied. If using your own custom term, then you must define these using the drop-down lists. You can then select the thresholds to be used and set the values. Lastly, for any new metric, you must define the data source. This indicates where the data for the metric can be found in the sample VCF files. You can also edit the data source for any existing metric, as needed. Double-click the data source field to open the Edit Data Source dialog. In the Template File field, you can load a VCF that contains the metric. Select the sample name if multiple samples are included in the VCF, and select an example variant from the VCF. The middle section of the dialog lists the available fields included in the VCF. The fields shown are dependent on the category defined. For example, if the category is set to sample, then the sample level meta fields of the VCF are shown. While if the category is set to variant, then the variant level info, format, and qual fields are shown. Select the field to be used for the metric. You can also combine multiple fields to create an equation for calculating a new metric. After defining the data source, the value field below lists the value for the example variant based on the data source as defined. Confirm your selections are correct and then click OK. Once all metrics have been added and modified as needed, click OK to save the profile. A quality metric profile can be selected when submitting a run. This can be done through the New Run dialog or when submitting from NextGENE. In the New Run dialog, select the profile from the drop-down menu next to Quality Metric Profile. The profile will be applied for all samples in the run. In NextGENE, when Output to Geneticist Assistant is selected, you can click Details to specify the settings for submission. The quality metric profile can be selected from the drop-down menu next to QC Profile. After a run is submitted, the Quality Metric Profile column on the Runs tab lists the name of the profile used for each run. When viewing a sample in the run, a Quality Metric Report tab is available. This tab details all the metrics included in the profile for the sample. Metrics that fall outside the minimum to maximum range set for the profile are highlighted with red. Metrics that fall within the warning range are highlighted in yellow. For variant level metrics, the number of variants that pass out of the total number of variants is listed. If some variants do not pass, then the field is highlighted in yellow. The thresholds for the profile are also shown for reference. On the Sample Variant Data tab, you can also find columns in the variant table for the variant level quality metrics. Again, the failed metrics are highlighted in red, and the metrics in the warning range are highlighted in yellow. By hovering your mouse over any of the quality metrics columns, you can view the thresholds set for the metric. Thank you for viewing this webinar on tracking quality metrics in Geneticist Assistant. We've discussed creating quality metric profiles, selecting a profile when submitting your samples to Geneticist Assistant, and reviewing quality metrics for a sample. If you have any questions, please contact us at tech_support@softgenetics.com.